The Deviljho, aka the Gankosaurus Rex. If you haven't already powered your way to the endgame by now, then you're going to see a lot of this thing at the worst possible moment. Deviljho is an endgame difficulty boss that likes to ambush mid-game players. Eventually, you'll be in a position for sweet payback, and that's what we're going to cover here. When supplying for a fight with a Deviljho, you're going to want to bring a lot of things, really. The goddamned, well, regular Tyrannosaurus really doesn't have any killer weaknesses, but a few things can help out along the way. Firstly, Deviljho drools stomach acid. If it bites you whilst in a slobbery mood, then it will inflict the defense down status ailment. Either counter this with the iron skin armor skill, or bring a full 10 adamant seeds. Eating an adamant seed will nullify the defense down ailment and give you a short defensive buff. If you haven't maxed out the iron skin skill, then it's not worth wasting any armor skins or mega armor skins here. You'll have your defense buff stripped away all too quickly. Secondly, Deviljho is always hungry. It will stop abruptly mid-fight to eat anything nearby and regain its strength. You can take advantage of this by bringing meat laced with your choice of nastiness. The two most effective are tainted meat, which inflicts paralysis, or drugged meat, which inflicts sleep. If you bring drugged meat, then bring some extra large barrel bombs and materials to upgrade them, so you can have 2 sets of bombs. You will have to time your bait right, though. Deviljho will become very tired after enraging and is most likely to stop and eat then. Watch for its signature red glow to fade, and then try to place meat in an open area. Also, Deviljho causes ground tremors with a number of its attacks. You might want to consider the tremor resistance skill. Finally, when enraged, Deviljho causes dragon element damage with its breath attack and some bites. This can cause dragon blight, so bring some nullberries. Other than this, flash pods can slow it down for a short spell, though it's a flightless monster, so don't expect any free stuns. With all of that prep out of the way, onto the fight itself. Deviljho is very weak to both thunder and dragon element attacks. It has a standard resistance to all status ailments. Its weak points are its head and chest, which can be broken. The tail can also be severed. Fighting a Deviljho is a lot like that last fight scene from Kingsman: The Golden Circle, except with a T-Rex instead of a hamburger machine. This thing is vicious and never lets up. You're going to want to use every trick, tool, mantle and palico gadget you can in this fight. Personally, I find this thing a lot harder than the endgame Elder Dragons. Deviljho's attacks cover a lot of ground and it moves very quickly. One particularly troublesome attack is a shoulder tackle that can be very hard to dodge. You need to try and get past the head here. It will curl its tail around and catch you otherwise. You don't have as much clear space as you think. When Deviljho enrages, and trust me, you'll know when it's really angry with you, it'll start to breathe wide swaths of red lightning. This can be a good opportunity to dart in and attack if you're already close up. If you're at mid-distance though, turn around and get out of the way as soon as possible. This attack has a wide reach, but not a very long one. You should be able to roll back out of the way if you see it coming. Deviljho will spend most of its time enraged, but in the brief periods in which it must catch its breath and refuel, it takes much more damage all over. Deviljho's legs become a weak point when it's tired, and it will begin to drool, causing defense down if it bites you. Make the absolute most of these times. This is when you can use your coup de grace attacks and demon pills and other things. Deviljho's calling card is to interrupt you whilst fighting other monsters, but it does not take kindly to anything else returning the favour. This goes double for the Great Jagras. In fact, it will pick the Great Jagras up by the scruff and swing it around the arena like a bludgeon. This is perhaps the only time a Great Jagras can pose any real threat to you. If another monster happens across your fight, then Deviljho will immediately let them know who's boss. The only exception to this is the Basiljuice, with whom Deviljho stands neck and neck. Deviljho ranges wherever he likes and can be found in a number of places. At the start of the fight, I found him in both Area 9 and at the beach at Area 4. Area 9 has a large slope to facilitate jumping attacks, and this is an excellent way to start the fight. After that, don't forget to make use of the paratoads in the area. After fighting here, Deviljho will back off to Area 1 to feed. Area 1 contains Aptonoth, on which Deviljho likes to feed, and Vita Lilies, as well as raised ledges from which you can launch jumping attacks. Deviljho usually goes through an exhausted phase here, so it's a good place to use tainted or drugged meat. From here, Deviljho will retreat to the beach at Area 4 or just above. Area 4 has a strong slope for jumping attacks, and a vine trap at the top of the hill. This won't hold Deviljho for long, but can give you enough time to land one charged attack. From here, Deviljho will move to the forest in Area 5 or may limp away to Area 14 if severely wounded after a turf war with Basil Juice. Area 5 has a few platforms for jumping attacks and contains meddling gadget. These might be a help or a hindrance, just keep an eye out. Getting poisoned at the wrong time can make things much more difficult. From here, Deviljho can limp back to the nest if injured badly enough, or it will stomp away to Area 6. Area 6 contains spore puffs if you need a little respite, and poison cups. These will likely get punctured during the fight, so watch out and don't get poisoned. From here, Deviljho will flee to Area 7. Area 7 has a ledge for jumping attacks, and is quite cramped. Try not to get cornered here. Most likely Deviljho will finally start limping back to the nest after a short fight here. The nest is down a tunnel and on the lowest level of Area 13. It will fall asleep here, so it may well be your second set of barrel bombs if you've prepared. This area contains a giant Vigor Wasp and is very cramped indeed. If you're lucky, you can draw it out to the upper level where it can be forced waist deep into the vines on the floor. Attack a sunken Deviljho from behind, as the dangerous end of the hulking thing is now at hunter level and it can still try to eat you. This also goes for pitfall traps. This fight can feel like it's never going to end, but soon enough you'll triumph. The Deviljho armour looks like a tight fit and contains the Part Breaker, Handicraft, Speed Eating, and Latent Power skills. For all that effort, it's a pretty mediocre reward. There's no denying that Deviljho is a hard fight. Good luck and happy hunting.